Alright, so, gonna make a blog today. Just got off the computer, been working, for the last, week, 10 days on, Tales of Scarcity, the second book, finishing up, some old artwork, storyline, pretty good stuff. Kind of reminds me of, well, not really. Anyway, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so it is. Oh, I don't know if I showed off my haircut already. Cut off the sides and growing it out. It is March 21st. 1:15 maybe, 1:10 a.m. in the morning. So please excuse my I don't know. Anyway, what do you call it when you work on the computer too much? So it's raining, and I'm still in Oroville, California. 2018. I've been here for 3 months, almost 3 months. Been getting a lot of work done as far as my work, art stuff, organizing my stuff, and anyway, so this is, I don't know, 32 video, 32 blog, vlog, 32. Kind of want to go an overview of some of the stuff. As I talk about my past, I want to talk about my current thoughts as well. So I'm 41 years old. Just had a birthday in February last month. I don't know. That's a whole nother conversation as far as aging and our generation, my generation. But I've been listening to How to Get Rich by Napoleon Hill. I think that's what it's called. But in San Jose, I started listening to him and to that other guy. Damn it, Earl Nightingale. So what's interesting with these guys? Napoleon Hill was first, and Earl Nightingale was after, and he wrote about Napoleon Hill. And Napoleon Hill was during the days of Henry Ford, because I guess he hung out with him, talked to him or whatever. So it's pretty in the 30s or something. But the interesting thing with his story, if you care about it, or if you care about learning, you will research it. And it's just easy reading. You can YouTube it while you're working on whatever, on the bus or on the train or in your car. Just have it play it. The interviews are interesting. That's what I first started listening to, just the interviews. Or him talking, like him giving his speeches, or, talks. And it's kind of like motivational speech, where the power of positive thinking stuff. And so all these people that give you motivational speeches, they kind of refer to Napoleon Hill and Earl Nightingale. Salesmen even talk about it. So it's interesting. It's good. It's people can make it a joke because it is kind of it's people that don't like motivation. There's people that don't like vegan. You don't like to eat vegetables. That's fine. So or you like to eat bacon all the time. That's cool too. But these guys are, to me, I thought they were great. Great, like their knowledge that they had and their motive and their ideas were great. So I started listening to the book. I didn't know. I don't know if. And before that, I was listening to the Yin and Yang, the Tao. I don't know. I think it's a book too, but it was like on YouTube, and now I think I talk about that in an earlier blog in San Jose. But what's interesting is just the positive thinking, the idea that like while we're here in the world. But with these guys, so Napoleon Hill's book, I'm pretty sure it's him, talks about the mastermind. And I've heard this concept before or something, where people, you get your group together and you guys kind of get together and talk and try to do some, more about business, like have a business and on the same subject. But he does kind of, when he talks about it, he's like, it's no guru stuff, nothing like no magic or anything, like the stuff that when you learn Christianity, like the soothsayers and stuff like that. As far as like seance, you know what I mean, like conjuring stuff up or whatever. So, which there's like the idea of, if you read the Bible, or where if it's not from God, it's from somewhere else. Like thou shalt not have no gods before me. Thou shalt not worship any gods before me. I'm a jealous God. So the God of the Bible, the great I am, he didn't even have a name, or they say he. I don't know. But God in the Bible, when you first asked him what his name was, he said, I am. And then they're like, I can't go tell people that. Like, so he has Yahweh. But the thing with the Hebrew language is it doesn't, or I guess in those times or something like that, where there's no consonants or no vowels. So it was like YHWH. And so they added the A in there, Yahweh, and the E. So, that's interesting, just because, and then they turned it to Jehovah, which I don't know how that translated to Jehovah. And then they translated that to Lord or God. So I don't know. I mean, this is something that goes beyond language. So, but language is a, for lack of a better term, is magic, or is a gift that God gave us that is powerful. In the Bible, it talks about it in James. The tongue is a fire, is a fire. You can light a forest ablaze or something. I forget how it says it, but like a rudder in this on a boat. So the words and then at the beginning of the Bible says, thou God spoke, let there be light, and there was light. And I've said this before, that's pretty scientific, like vibrations, the word. First there was a word, and the word was God. So there's, this is all stuff you need to study yourself. If I'm not trying to convince nobody of anything. I'm just telling you what I've learned. So that's the main. All this stuff is stuff that is my perception or my point of view or my experience. This is this, you know, I want to make sure people understand, you know, whether it be about my life or whether it be about my ideas or my thoughts or whatever. Like, this is something that I'm sharing, not because, I mean, I would share it. I would share this stuff even without having all this drama. But I'm sharing the drama because I feel like I have to set records straight and have put my story in there to, because, you know, people obviously use things that are their philosophies or their stories as a weapon. You know, if it wasn't about me, if it wasn't about my life and my experiences, and it hasn't physically happened, like people haven't, you know, fucking law enforcement and all this other gangs and fucking, you know, and I don't blame nobody. That's one of the things like Napoleon Hill talks about is, you know, you live in this world, you know, and the yin and yang Taoism talks about, the Bible talks about. We live in this world, it's a reaction world. It's action reaction world. You know, you can go to science about it. And so I don't blame anybody. And I know my life is only my life, but I do want to share it with the people that know me and people that question, you know, wonder where I'm at, because I know a lot of other things are happening that have been happening that are beyond me, that are, you know, part of my culture and part of my environment and part of California, part of the government, that, you know, the laws that are happening, the weed marijuana growers, the racial tensions and the Me Too movement, the, you know, murders and what else. And, you know, I'm just part of this world, but it seems like people have used me to fucking throw me in the front of the bus. So I'm here just to not just save myself, but really just like, I waited a long time to speak because I didn't know what was going on, and it was, you know, things like that, hostile environments and hostile groups of people, you know. And, you know, I guess when you speak like I'm speaking right now, probably bring me more problems, but I'm already, you know, there's a way out. There's doors that are right there that are, hey, you know, people, I can walk out the door and just shut up, which probably would be smartest, but, you know, I was not born to go hide under a rock, or, you know, go, God didn't give me talents to hide, you know, whatever. I'm trying not to be stupid about it or try not to have my ego, you know, but the ego, I'm trying not to my pride and my ego to call the shots and what I'm doing on these videos. But you know, it's affected my family, it's affected my friends, it's affected my community, you know, like, either good or bad, you know, like, people call you freaking devil worshiper and all this stuff, is like, and you're not, and you believe in God, and you're like, you know, you gotta say something. And that's where I'm at right now. It's like, okay, well, people said all this negative stuff about me, so I got to, and obviously they have a big microphone, so they, or whatever, they got like fucking people listening to them. So through these videos have helped, I believe, Whether, people have power, people try to have power over you. So that's the thing, is like, we live in this world where bullies believe that they can bully people and control them, whether it's your government, whether it's your police force, whether it's your neighborhood bully, whether it's gangs, whether it's, fucking your family, whether it's whoever. People can use words against, people can use lies and trickery against you. Obviously, we know this. If you live long enough, I'm 41 years old. I would never have thought I would have to be doing this on YouTube or whatever. I hope YouTube is cool with me. I'm sure there's way more controversial blogs or vlogs. So, anyway. So I just want to make that clear again. But this Napoleon Hill thing, I wanted to say too. It's interesting because this is why I think my own calamities came upon me. Because I believe in the universe, the energy, the whatever it is, karma, whatever you want to call it. Like, when you put anything out into the world, you're going to receive. Sometimes the opposite. So, in the Tao or whatever it's called, the Chinese philosophy, no disrespect. Some people Western people try to make it into a religion, which I don't know what the definition of a religion is, but it's not a belief system in God or another God that they're worshiping. They do talk about nature, as far as I've learned, but I saw this little what do you call it? A little TED Talk thing that had, animated the idea of Taoism. But it's like, if you don't research it yourself, and even God says this, like, if seek gold and silver as you would seek knowledge and wisdom as you would seek gold and silver. What does that mean? What that means is wisdom and knowledge are super important, and if you don't find out for yourself, people can just tell you whatever they want to tell you, and you'll believe them. And that's what the problems are. And I know not everybody has time or energy or whatever, but if you have time and energy to care about people's drama or watch the news or whatever, if you have, like, you can have energy to find out what the heck the Tao really is, or read the Bible a couple times, or read some, read something, watch a YouTube video on it. So Napoleon Hill is interesting because, like everything else, like some of these philosophies, there's good and bad. So some of the things that he talks about are great, and then I got into this one part where it's like, where he gets crazy, because the positive thinking is good. It's good to be positive, and this book is about money, which, just learning about how to make money and make sure that you know how to take care of your business, and make sure you know how to save, and the plights of the poor person of poverty are real. And so, I didn't learn how to make money or take care of money, or how the world works monetarily and creating a business and stuff. So that's how it started, and that's how I got into Napoleon Hill. But this book, How to Get Rich or whatever, it's kind of money based, but it's more about the positive thinking. Try to envision yourself and where you want to be in life, and you'll get there. And what's interesting about this is that I think it's true. I think, like, whether you believe you're going to be poor, or whether you're going to be rich, or whatever, whether you think you're happy or you're going to be sad, like, you will, that will happen. Like, you know, if you're always angry, I don't know. There's like a thing where if you're always jealous and you think your woman's always cheating on you, there'll be a time when like she probably does because you invoked it, or you know, or if you believe that you're gonna make it and you're gonna get, you know, a new car, like, and you work and you go for it. You don't just sit there and dream it, but you actually work on it, and you're gonna get that thing. So like, but the weird thing is in life is that like deja vu's. This is some of the stuff he talks about. Like they're a phenomenon that we all experience, but we don't know why it happens. How you can dream something and then weeks or years later you can have a memory of like having that experience, a real life experience that you dreamt, or that it was a familiar experience. So we all, as humans, have this experience. So even if you can't scientifically prove why that happens, we have people that experience it. You know, I can say that deja vu, and that term means something. So if you're watching this and you ever had a deja vu or some experience like that, we can connect and say, hey, that happened. And even if the science hasn't proved it, I've experienced it personally. And every human being on this planet at some time will experience that. You know, so that's where I'm coming from when I talk about this guy and how he explains things, because you know, like he's coming from that place where he's like, you know, if you think positive thoughts, your life is going to be better, and you're going to accomplish, you know, your goals. So that, you know, like working out, you know, you want to, it's, you know, it's preparation, and one, it's, you know, part to think about it and to work on it, and you know, that's preparation. Because if you're book smart, if you go to school, if you ever tried to better yourself in any way, mind, spirit, or body, like you've had to use that mindset, the mind skills to motivate yourself to get something done. And sometimes you do something that you never thought you would be able to accomplish, and gets done. And that was only because of willpower. So when you're when you're overachiever or whatever, or somebody that, you know, and when you go through life and you have to, and you get used to that and you like it, like working out, and when you start seeing your gains and you're like, yeah, I feel good, you know, my life is better, I like working out, there's something to it. So the same thing with spiritual means. And so positive thinking is a great thing. The weird thing about it is that it has consequences. So overworking out hurts your body. And I think the same thing with, because when I listen to the Tao, like it said that, you know, like the yin and yang, like life is good and bad. You can't be happy all the time. You know, there's sadness. You know, there's times when you're, and in the Bible it says, you know, there's a time for war, there's a time for peace. There's like all these dualities in life. But what's interesting is that you have, you affect your own life. You like, just like eating, whatever you eat, you're gonna get the consequences. So the same thing with your soul, whatever you think, you know, like having your environment affect you, negative or positive. But as an artist, I've had these experiences, you know, where kind of like deja vu's, but where you think, I don't know, I can't explain it, but like I think singing songs, like if you sing songs and you sing about, you can depress yourself if you're singing sad songs all the time, even if you're not in those moments. You invoke those moments and you're like, oh, and you start singing about your ex-girlfriend or something, and you're gonna invoke that sadness, and that's part of the experience of art. You're invoking your life through your art, and you're like sad or happy, whatever it is that you're singing about or painting or whatever. You're going to have power in that. And so I've been more aware of what I want to invoke in my art and my music and stuff. Just lately, like before, I was just writing my feelings. Writing, kind of emulating other people's styles, like singing blues or singing sad songs or whatever, because I like those songs when I listen to the radio or my favorite musicians or whatever. But I never thought about it, like singing rock and roll or singing rap songs or listening to rap all day. And it's like I'm like thinking, I don't know if it's because I'm older or whatever, but I realized like, okay, I actually need to, like, if I don't feel angry or sad, like I don't need to listen to angry and sad music or whatever. Same thing with movies or whatever. But the interesting thing with, okay, so the theory is in the Tao is that whatever you put out into the world, you're gonna so okay, so there's no getting away from negative things happening to you, calamity, problems happening to you. That the idea is that you're gonna get stronger. But the thing is, the stronger you get, the more problems you're gonna have. So like Jay-Z talks about, like, more money, more problems. Like, that's just part of life, but you have to choose, like, so that's where the weird thing happens, where it's like, man, do you want to be an overachiever? Like, so I don't know where, in these videos, what I want to express. I don't want to destroy people, whether with my words or actions, because I think my music and my art and, like, even like judging, like in the Bible it says, judge and you shall be judged by the same measure. And that's the issue, is like, I think I've lived life where I was, pointing the finger at the government or racism and all this stuff. I was judging a lot because in my 20s I was like really self-righteous. So I think I caused a lot of my own problems. So I know I understand, and I, we all do. I don't think I'm like the exception to the rule. Like, I think all of us do this. Have these experiences, and as far as negative, positive. I think through my art and my music, though, I've concentrated it and used it for that, and I've gotten an equal opposite reaction to that. So I think some of my problem, like, okay, so like when I was a kid, I remember like 13 or something, 13, 14, 15, 16, when I started songwriting, like, I prayed to God, and I was like, hey God, like, let me do your work. Let me help do your work. I don't need to go party with everyone. I don't need to do, like, and I said that prayer, and I always thought about that, and I always, wanted to do that with my work, with my art and music, but I was like, like, I don't need to be rich. I don't need to. I just want to be taken care of, because then I second guess. I'm like, oh wow, wait, I don't want to be poor either, but I don't want to be selfish. So all the money I make, I can give it to, to charity or somebody that needs it. Or, now that I'm older and been poor for a while, I'm like, man, like, I've never been in super need where I'm like super starving, whether it's because of family members or people, friends or whatever, buying some art or whatever. But I've never like been, and every time I do start working and getting like stuff going, like something happens and it's like, man, like, so I've been in that world where I have enough, but then I don't have more than my basic needs taken care of, even when I go for it. And I don't know if we're all like that, but some people are not. I know like a lot of people where money just they're just like rolling, they're balling, whether they're good people or they're like skimming on the side or whatever. So I don't know what the answer to that is. I know people get good jobs and you're making good money. I've had that too. So nothing wrong with making money. That's one of the things is like, if you don't like, the problem with artists is that we're always like, oh, we hate money. Money can't control us. We're special. My music is not for sale. My art's not for sale. I'm not for sale. But the thing with that is that money, finances, riches are not evil. They are actually good for you. Like sometimes the Bible will kind of say, oh, it's a rich man to get to heaven is like fitting a camel through the eye of a needle. So sometimes we think like, okay, you don't want to be rich because then you won't get to heaven. But at the same time, that's not truth. That's just a metaphor to, if you love your riches more than you love God, then yeah, you have a problem. But at the same time, there's people that actually have money and riches that are able to be giving and, that are doing pretty good in their spirit, in their soul. So that was one of the first lessons that I learned from these guys, like these motivational speaker guys, was that money is not a bad thing. Money is actually, you gotta change your mindset. For if you're a poor person growing up, like this mindset of always thinking that you can achieve, because I've never thought I can achieve, and I have achieved. But then the negative thoughts, like in relationships or even money, like when you think like, oh man, I gotta worrying about it, not achieving but worrying, negative thoughts do affect you. So like if you're like, I don't need to work out today or whatever it is. I've had both, but like we all have. So, but what I'm trying to say is that I've learned that the positive thinking works, but you're not always going to get positive from it. There is the yin and yang where no matter how great you are and perfect, you try to make your life and your thoughts and how great you treat people, which is going to be great, you're still going to have calamity. Because I've seen really good people have, tragedies. Like, so I don't think it's just that, where if you do good, your life's going to be great. But there is, it's better to help out as best you could. I think that's the answer, is just do the best you can. That's it, really. Like, but we're all selfish. I'm not trying to say I'm over here perfect at all. That's not even, like I keep saying, not even what I want to try. Not what I'm trying to do. But I do want a good life and all this stuff. So I do want to not trash people on YouTube and all this stuff. But I do got to say my truth. And there is another Bible saying, like the wise man, foolish man speaks and something, and everybody knows he's a fool. But a foolish man that don't speak becomes wise, because at least there's doubt that he's a fool, or something like that. I forget how it says it, but I'm not wired like that. There's also people that have to teach, and so not everybody can just shut up and not say nothing. There's a whole nother way of being in this world. Not everybody's the same. And mine, I think, quiet sometimes, and sometimes I'm here sharing on YouTube. So the point of this is that I'm here in my art and my music and everything to try to do good, and I do feel responsible for. I'm not trying to not be responsible for being stupid and making mistakes in life, but I'm trying to also say, hey man, like, we're all here on this earth, and I'm not here to. I wish I didn't have to go and talk about my past or talk about my life and all my mistakes, and because I'm not the only one that made mistakes, and not the only one in my story that, you know, what does it say? Truth is a double-edged sword, and I just don't like some of the lies that have been told about me, or some of the misunderstandings that have been laid upon my door, and because they're the worst ones. And I've spent years letting people try to figure it out, but we live in this crazy world, and I haven't put the full armor of the Lord on. I fail at a lot of selfish, things that I still have as a human being. I'm not self-righteous or nothing. Well, maybe I'm self-righteous, but I'm not thinking I'm perfect or whatever. So anyways, so it's 37 minutes. I'm going to leave it there, but I'm going to go into some drama in a moment. But if you can, read Napoleon Hill. And the Tao, just like information, it's just information. But the more you give, the more you got to keep achieving, but there is crazier things. Because I'm going to start talking about that stuff, like things that are, people can call them supernatural or whatever. Not that I've experienced, like, because he gets into this one part where he's like, he starts using his mind, and then things start getting affected, and I've never done anything like that. I pray, and but I've never tried to fake my mind out or anything. But I have been having these dreams. I think we do live in a world where people, like, he talks about hypnotizing and using that stuff. Because during those times, during, like, that movie Get Out, like, that shit's true. Like, psychologists and stuff, they use that stuff, man. Like, people astral planing, like people meditating and getting to be able to leave their body and stuff. Like, all that stuff is true. Like, there is that aspect to living, and he talks about it in the book. He's like, there's those people that he's like, I don't do this. This is not, I don't do magic. I'm not talking about magic. I'm not talking about seances and all this. But there are the powers that there's people and groups of people and cults and all this stuff like that. You could even say in the Bible, it says don't do that. Don't, like, repeat words over and over, and that's not a prayer. But in the Catholic Church, they do that. They have, like, and then and other, like, Buddha religions and stuff, like, they have the Om, like, meditating and stuff. So I don't know exactly where all that fits in, but I do know that people can astral plane. I haven't did it, but or seen it or experienced it myself. But I know people that I've trusted told me experiences in the '60s that during the hippie days when they were experimenting, that they've seen it and experienced it. Church people. And so it's not far-fetched from what I believe, or what I've, when you study and learn and listen to people, you, there's like the power of the word. Like people use it, you can use it for good or bad. Like voodoo, people use voodoo, like whatever it is, and like people call it magic. Like people thought photography was magic, and maybe it is. That's the thing, is maybe science is magic, but also sound is magic, and sound is just science. Like, so that's where I'm getting at, is like all these things kind of mix in. Same thing with deja vu, dreams, like seeing the future. The Bible talks about that stuff, like gifts. People have gifts, like the natural phenomenon stuff. Like you ever go to a room and you're like, you get a, like say the same word, or say this, like feel a connection with somebody or something like that, where this is not something I personally experienced, but I've heard people talk about it. I'm trying to get like common experiences, but it's basically mental, like when you can almost mentally speak with somebody. Like I've never mentally spoke with anybody where I heard their voice or anything like that, but it's almost like they caught they can pull it out of the energy, and they'll catch it, or even get affected. What I've had is being affected by energy and not understanding it, and why it feels like intuition. But lately I've been like noticing it more, trying to control it when I get into social groups, because I've been attacked and I've been like, having to absorb other people's negative energy, and so I've been really like skittish about it, because people put that stuff out into the world, and then then it affects you. So the people have been tripping out on me because my art, they they believe it invoke it, like I'm able to interpret other people, like drama, things that have been happening, whether it's other people's interpretations of my art, or whether I did draw or paint something that was an issue that I didn't know about, but yet it was something that was happening, with some of this drama. And so I look at it now, because now that I know about some of this stuff, I'm like, damn, I can't believe like people thought I painted that or drew that about this, or And then it starts looking weird. Then I'm like, oh shit, I can't blame everybody, because that does look weird. But who I do blame are not everybody, but there's some instances where it's like, damn, I can't believe that these people put this out into the world, and then like try to turn my art into that. Especially with my music, like it's like, dude, like, and my poetry, it's like, really, like you try to turn that like something beautiful into something terrible, like, and that's where the line got drawn, like, because really, like, years, had people believe this stuff for years, that I would write poetry and songs, when when really people knew the truth, like people that actually even were checking me out and knew what these songs were about, like Ramona Sky. It's like, come on, man, like how long can you fake stuff? And these are people that I knew, and that's why I'm gonna call them out, because these are people that I actually friended, or friends, or whatever. Whether people try to their intentions were good or bad, like it affected my life negatively in ways that I could have probably cleared up if everyone would have just been honest and upfront about the situation, instead of doing all this crazy shit. But I'm not alone in this world, not the only one that been crucified in this world and deserves whatever, like. But I think that comes to the thing where I got to take responsibility for this situation, my situation, because if I call people out, whether it's totally something different, and then I get in a situation that's a negative situation for whatever reason, totally unrelated, but yet still society. If you want to judge society, society is going to judge you. And so that's kind of where I see the Tao and religion and biblical stuff and the supernatural stuff. Like I feel like I have a lot of gifts and I gave a lot of stuff out there. But as a human being, I've not been perfect and kind of reap what you sow stuff. But at the same time, it's not related to. Like, I've tried to help out this world. I've tried to help with every ounce of energy that I've had in this world. Yeah. And so when calamity came upon me, I was like, man, what the heck? So I was like, and then, like, when I started learning about it, I'm like, oh, man, okay. Like, okay, that wasn't, I could see this point of view. I can see that. I can see this. But I'm like, man, I still don't believe like that's equal to my, like, not even what the world wanted to give to put upon me and just try to destroy me, like, but in the way where the things that already happened where you get into a place where you're not able to achieve or accomplish anything. Stalemate. So it's like, so you're not destroyed, but you're kind of get your ass kicked without knowing. Like people get in car crashes, people, have, health problems or whatever. Like people lose loved ones, and so I understand my life is not as bad as it could be, but I guess what I'm trying to say is that I want to be positive. I still want to help out the world, and I do believe that I can still, and I want to, and some of it has to do with like this, natural phenomenon of like that I gotta share. These are like things that I've learned and that I feel like I want to, and that I need to like say, whoa, this crazy shit happened. Like people are tripping out on it. I'm tripping out on it. Like, and it's all this unsaid stuff because only I can say what I know. And this has been crazy, and the thing with this is some people have tried to add things in there, like get me to paint paintings or whatever that they asked me to do, like, or watercolor, like illustrations that had to do with my drama that I didn't know about, but I just did their illustration or their painting or mural or whatever, following their instructions. And then later on I found out why, these people that I trusted or whatever, whether they had good intentions or bad intentions, this whole drama that was going on without me knowing about it escalated because I don't know if people believe that I was painting this stuff as a joke or as a, trying to make fun of people or whatever. Sometimes I like turned into like I don't even know how to speak on this stuff without making it a joke. It got turned into something freaking, some meme, or I don't know what the hell is out there, but people got that and went all the way. Which, which it just has to, life is just what it is, you can't control life. That's where I'm coming to terms with, is I can't control however things unfold, is the way they have to unfold. Like, if you get into a car accident or an accident, you fall off your deck or whatever, you get your hand caught in freaking the door or whatever it is, you have to live with that. And so, yeah, this is just my story. So, since everybody seemed to be interested in my story, I'm going to tell it. As much, tell fill in the blanks or whatever, fill in the things that, people treat other people like people believe celebrities, like this whole social media thing. People believe that they can shame other people because society believes that they don't have physical confrontations no more. So we have, we do, but they're illegal. But like, so people resort to this shaming, public shaming. So they'll do whatever, but things that they'll like videotape people in the bathroom taking, or naked, and they believe that that's gonna shame them for, and they do, people. It is something that our society believes, that they don't take a shit, or that they don't freaking get naked, like, or have sex, or whatever it is, like masturbate or watch porn, or whatever it is that people believe that they can shame other people for. Cheat on their boyfriend or girlfriend, or whatever it is. Like, so people use this as a weapon against other people, and try to use this stuff against me, and it's worked to the point where people are false to themselves, that they will laugh, join in the joke, because but yet they too do this. Every human being does these things, or whatever. Most people, if they have the goal, or the if people lived, and then they're gonna, if you don't live or don't do nothing, then yeah, you're hella boring, and maybe you live a happy, good life. That's great. But when you go out into the world, and you're living and learning, it's not something that is always pretty or always perfect. So I'm not trying to say that. But all these people that I know or whatever thought, it was funny, or still thinks it's funny, or whatever. It's always easier to be part of the. You don't want to be joked upon. You don't want to be had, so you join. And it's just the same old bully stuff, you know what I mean? But people want to put me there. I've always been the center of that, because I've always been, a threat to the powers that be. So, whether it's because I'm better looking, or more talented, or more tenacious, or more whatever it is, outspoken, powerful. The people that are in my surroundings, the weak people, they're usually the weak people. because powerful people, truly powerful people, will actually don't want to destroy you. They want to join power with you. But so the bullies are usually the ones that are afraid. So I've been, in the small town in Butte County, there's been people that have been afraid of my power or whatever, because every school that I've ever went to, I've always had to go against the bullies in that school as soon as I got there. So it was nothing new to me. And so yeah. So this is the same thing except on a crazy scale, and it's come from trying to point out my flaws, secret stuff. So it's like, so anyway, basically what I'm trying to say is that I wish the best for everybody. Definitely don't mind owning my responsibilities. I'm not trying to be a bully, but I refuse to be bullied. And I've already been bullied, but I'm going to clean up this mess because I don't believe, because I got plenty of shit to do that I got to do in this world. So if you listen to these videos, wherever you are, now you can know who I am. Now can't shame me. We're all gonna die. So, this is all just a story, but I'm gonna live this one good. So yeah, so I'm gonna make a part 2.